Let's talk about innovation. I think we can probably agree the world is in a very difficult state. And I'm not going to talk about that a bunch. But one of the things we need to do is innovate. And that is to come up with a new world to replace this one. Buckminster Fuller had a nice quote about that. I forget the whole quote. But it's something about you can't fight the system as it is, you need to replace it. Which makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot of things we could fight, we could protest and say this is the wrong way for things to be, and we can blame each other. I'd rather not get into that. I'd like to invite everyone to be on the team of fixing everything. And that's going to require some imagination, experimentation, and experiments with implementation. Because even if we think we got some bright ideas, and hopefully a collection of more than one, we're going to have to get real creative and be self-critical and change the plan we come up with. Some people in their lives are always finding a new solution. I've hosted some. Often they go from one spiritual solution to another one, desperately believing in some nicely spoken leader that promises them that they know this magic solution, and if they just believe in them and usually pay some to them, that everything will work out. And so they try that for a year, and then the next year they switch to another one, and the next year they switch to another, always running from some magic solution to another. And there isn't a magic solution. We need a collection of solutions that all support each other. And it doesn't have to be one utopian static solution. It has to be things that work for different kinds of people in different ways, because we're not all the same. We're not all one. Bugs me when people say stuff like that. We are all one. No, we're clearly not, which is why you're saying it. And any other slogan like that sounds like they're just happy words, right? Happy pseudo-spiritual words. Love and light. You know, some of the worst people say that. Somebody says love and light, I already don't trust them, because I've hosted too many of them that, well, they're not part of the solution. They're part of the problem. So, one thing about innovation is, when you bring up an idea that is new to someone, the first thing most people will do, and it's normal, and I do it myself, but with great caution, and I hope I don't do it very often, even though some types of things are obviously bullshit, I have caution about criticizing things too quickly, because we need a lot of different types of ideas, and I've always been a very innovative guy. I've had to be. I was raised in an unusual way that I had to break away from, and that was actually good for me. It made me into an anti-authoritarian. It made me question everything. It made me question myself. And you should do that. Being confident with no good reason is dangerous. Thinking you've got that magic solution. Very bad idea. I'm a special case, I suppose, because I haven't tried to just learn one thing and I think I'm done. I'm ripping my head apart for my whole life and always looking for information that conflicts with my own beliefs and trying to find merit within it.
Yes.
It is hard when people you like and trust and know you always shoot your idea down right away. Happens to me all the time with almost anything I do, because I'm pretty out there. And like I just, posted a thing to a good friend of mine, and immediately he tells me, why it's not going to work before he listens to why it could. Now, I don't mind that. I know his heart's in a good place. He's a guy I trust a lot who's really smart. And I didn't finish the conversation with him because I'm walking today into town. But I'm going to solve problems. Like, let's think about this, okay? We see the problem with the internet, where you can't trust anyone. Trust is a really big problem we got to solve. And personal reputation, personal responsibility, social contracts. This is all stuff that is not being solved well. We just talked with a guy about traveling to places and all these host sites that are popping up to host people, right? But they don't have very good reputation tracking, so you can't trust people very well. Like, I listed my place on Airbnb and iOverlander. iOverlander is a real good app. Not criticizing the app, but I took my postings down within a week because I immediately had people who hadn't read the profile. You know, like some people were showing up at like 11:30 at night and calling me and saying, "We're here." Well, they didn't read my thing that says you have to make an appointment, and also don't show up at night because the roads are bad. And so I remember one group that did that. They were far away from my house at a gate, and at 11:30 at night, I'm supposed to walk over there, open the gate for them, install them in a place, and I wasn't charging anything, hardly. On some sites I wasn't charging anything, which is my own problem. Got to get over that. And they probably thought I was rude as fuck, because I just said no, go away. I'm not going to play the game the way I don't want to play it. And I'm not going to encourage people to be driving on dirt roads at night. I don't want them showing up at night. I mean, if you get a flat tire at night, it's way worse than if you get one during the day, where you break your oil pan on a road. Whatever it is, whatever kind of problem can occur, it's all worse at night. So I don't even go out at night. So one of the innovations that I've been working on with a couple people is figuring out how can we trust each other. How can we develop trust? And some of that comes through personal recommendations, which reminds me, somebody was going to mail me some personal recommendations for them, but that's another person who wants to come for free and volunteer. That does not work for me. Maybe someday it will again, when I have a bunch of other income. And maybe I should set up a special crowdfunding effort where I can just send them a link that says, well, this is the funding for what you're looking for, and it's at zero, or some colossally small number. Because I want to have these people, but somebody's got to pay for them, and that person can't be me. Even if I got rich again, I don't want to fall for that shit anymore. I might even be willing to help people crowdfund using the context that I have. We could make a profile for them, and they could fund their own participation in the project. That would be fine. I'd like that. It's more work for me. But I've got really innovative projects that most people haven't thought of, apparently. I've talked about evacuated tube solar hot water heaters as an energy source, as being the best way I can think of to use solar energy. It's better than photovoltaic. And granted, it only produces heat, right? Which is not as cool as electricity. But for all I know, you could even hook a steam generator up to that and produce electricity with a solar hot water heater. I don't know. I'm not sure if the physics would work out on that. But I do know that I need to buy some evacuated tube solar hot water heaters, preferably the smallest ones I can, because I want to be able to pick them up with 4 people and move them. And I want to power a whole bunch of stuff. A solar sauna, a solar chicken brooder, solar dehydrator, because that would work for a lot of kinds of systems. And I want to build them for not needing any additional anything. Like even if your system needs pumps, because I live on rainwater, right? I don't want to use any pumps for that. Water should be captured uphill, flow downhill to where you want to use it. And I know there's somebody who's going to bring up, you can almost not say a thing I haven't thought of. If you do, I'll be so impressed. Please do it. Please try. Don't give up. But like, I know wind energy doesn't work where I'm at. People have come to my house and they're like, wind energy, and they'll mention it like 4 times, and I'm like, I don't have enough wind here. I mean, I have a weather station that has a spinny thing that measures wind speed. Anemometer? I don't even know what that's called. I used to know that kind of stuff, but I haven't used that weather station in many years. It's just sitting there. I got to hook that up again. And you can actually hook those up to Weather Underground and have it report the weather in your location. That'd be so cool. I want to do that, and I also want webcams set up that just even for amusement. Actually, webcams, I would love to have a lot more webcams. I mean, I want to have a webcam on the chickens. It'd be so cool to have one that was positioned at their chicken house, and it actually measured how many chickens there are by recognizing them individually. That might be a little difficult, although ankle bracelets on them would help. They sell those little rubber unique identifiers. And same thing for the rabbits, where it could track them. And I don't know, you'd need more than one webcam for that probably, because the way I raise rabbits is in a big area. Like the entire way I raise rabbits has been, I'm not currently doing it, is better than anybody else's system I know of. Now, I know there's a rabbit king that was doing stuff in China, and he was pretty cool and successful, and he economically benefited his whole area. And I want to do that with chicken raising and rabbits. I want to benefit the entire area around me, making systems that people can copy, and makes this whole area wealthier. Not necessarily directly in money, although some of those should be profitable economically. I mean, if the system can't support itself economically, then it may have a fundamental flaw. Anyway, so back to these people who just always say, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. I don't want to talk to those people, except for my friend who I'll tolerate, and I probably will send him a link to this video, because every time I say a new idea that isn't exactly something he's thought of before, or that doesn't already exist, he always shoots it down. And to be honest, that has discouraged me at times. And the people online who say, well, you're stupid because of this, or you're bad because of that. It's like, those are not the people that I care about. I want people who take the idea in, process it, and say, you know, you could combine that with this other thing. Because a lot of innovation doesn't come from one discovery or a single innovation, but it's how it fits into other innovations. Like you could invent something, and hundreds of years could go by, and it would not make sense. You look at the ideas of Leonardo da Vinci, for example. You know, that guy was very inventive. I mean, he's your stereotypical genius, right? But a lot of things he thought of didn't make any sense until other materials came along, until other innovations existed that allowed them to make sense. So we should always go back and reevaluate that guy's ideas and say, well, how can we make that work? Even if it doesn't work now. Combining ideas. And that will help as we look at the collapse of civilization that I believe is imminent, that will occur. How and when that shakes out is unclear. Like, will there be a triggering event that causes cascading failure? I don't know. But I know that preparing for that is obvious in its need. And and preparing for one kind of collapse, you know, like For example, we know gasoline prices are going to always go up, right? They're always going to go up in relation to what we want to do, because it's a scarce supply. We're fundamentally running our civilization on something that will become scarce. That's a major problem. So I want to build things that assume there'll be no electricity. I want to build things that assume that we won't have any gasoline. I want to build things that assume that we don't have the ability to just import anything we want from anywhere in the world, because shipping is not going to exist in the future as it does now. That's why we want to have distributed production of everything we need, especially food. But food is just one of the things. Architecture, got to redo it all. The way we build is dumb. This year, in 2025, January, did I say it was 2024 before? I might have. It's hard to remember, it's a new year, but it is a new year now. California basically burned down, and there's lots of theories that was caused, because people want to build smart cities, or they want to clear land to build something else. And some people even say the fires were set. Some people even think there's satellites that zap down a forest fire where they want one. Same thing in Hawaii last year. Really important place in Hawaii burned down. Well, one solution for that is don't build out of wood. Don't build buildings that burn down. Build with concrete. That's what people where I live build out of. Concrete blocks, brick, anything. And burning down a house like that's damn near impossible. We could also build them in preparation for an earthquake that we don't expect to happen for maybe 100, 200 years. Plan ahead. Don't build in anything in an area that can ever flood. Don't ever build in an area that could have a landslide above it or under it. Don't be dumb. Even insurance companies, with how things are going, aren't going to be willing to insure buildings that don't make sense. And I like that. Insurance actuaries, the people who evaluate risk, are some of the smartest people, because they're trying to predict the future, and their financial profitability of their gambling system, insurance, depends on them predicting correctly. Risk management. So when the insurance companies don't want to pay for your crap-ass construction, that sends a pretty clear message that it's bad construction. I do have some tricks for innovation, methods I call brute force brainstorming. And I don't know if I should tell you my secrets about that or not. I can't imagine why I wouldn't. I think it's because sometimes I feel like some of my ideas, and this is where I censor myself, some of my ideas could be used for evil. There's been people who developed a technology and it got used for something really terrible. We invented the ability to make nuclear bombs. We invented how to split the atom. That was probably a dumb idea. It was probably also inevitable. Somebody was going to figure it out. But some of the people involved in that, they regretted it because it becomes a weapon. And so I would rather not share ideas that are easily weaponized or that increase oppression. All right, this walk is not that far. For a while, I was going crazy with walking, because I need to walk and get exercise and not just sit at my computer thinking I'm doing useful shit, some of which is useful, but I need to be doing more physical work. Generally, I have thought physical work is not the most important, because anybody can do it. And there's tons of people that can do that. So a lot of what I see as my value add to humanity is thinking in innovative ways. including ones that don't seem to make a lot of sense right away. But somebody's got to do that, and it can't all be motivated by immediate financial gain. I see that with the internet in the state it's gotten itself into, where the internet is crumbling.